Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 344 based on novel. So let's start. So, where are we going now? After a brief hesitation, Yu was also out of ideas for a while, and hurriedly asked, Xiao Yang has the power of the holy flame after all, and the Lord of the Soul also has acacia broken heart inflammation in the hands, so Yu temporarily handed over the decision to Xiao Yang. Wait, you said there are only two locations. These two locations are located in the north and south of the building on the map, but isn't there a red mark in the center? What's going on? Xiao Yang wondered. I don't know, but when the teacher gave me this map, she clearly instructed me not to go to that location in the center of the building. Because where 10 deaths have no life. The soft voice contained some kind of special magic. 10 dead have no life. Xiao Yang heard the words and wanted to ask more, but seeing Yu's solemn expression, he immediately muttered to himself. Go to the south first, we are very close to the south now. After thinking for a while, Xiao Yang decided. Since there are only two places that could be the hiding place of the Lord of Souls, then it is possible to find it, but it will waste more time. However, Xiao Yang is still extremely afraid of the red mark in the center of the building. Yang's clan pattern is very eager for something. The periphery of the West Temple is basically a place where some idle people live, but the inside of the temple is different, because the people living here are all powerful people with status, so you see, the buildings on this map are. Yu continued. Beside the building, there are small lattices. These small lattices are separate houses. The houses are the habitats of these powerhouses. If we say that, our current position is 3 more from the southernmost. Grid room, 6 in the center, 10 in the far north. I hope the luck won't be too bad. Xiao Yang prayed silently in his heart, but unfortunately things backfired. What is often the most afraid of, it always comes. Putting away the map, the two continued to face the dark space. This stone gate, because this is where some strong people live, so the guards are quite lax. The two came to a huge stone gate, and immediately opened their mouths. How strong? Xiao Yang said tentatively. The strength will not exceed the late stage of the 7-star fighting immortals. Yu said flatly. If that's the case, then I can rest assured. Xiao Yang nodded. However, the minimum strength is not lower than that of the 6-star fighting immortal. The guy who can live in a separate space inside the temple, if it is not superior in strength, or has a unique skill. Yu whispered. It's all here, you can't go back empty-handed, let's go. Without any hesitation, Xiao Yang was fully armed, always prepared to make the worst plan, and gently walked towards the stone gate in front of him. With a sound, Xiao Yang's palm lifted slightly, and the stone door was pushed open out of thin air, and the stone door only opened a gap, and the two figures of Xiao Yang were included in it, and it was immediately closed. It's been a long time since the little guy came to me. This time someone finally came here, and I can't let them go. Just when Xiao Yang and the two had just entered the stone gate, a light-hearted voice appeared. The voice sounded slowly. What's going on? Being directly included by shaman, Xiao Yang couldn't help but muttered as darkness filled Xiao Yang's line of sight. This should be the first level marked to the south, be careful. Yu was at a loss for a while, so he could only be vigilant. After the breath, a khaki flame emerged from the palm of Xiao Yang's hand, and immediately lit up the entire room. Looking around, this is actually a rather strange space. In the space, a dazzling array of crystal test tubes appeared, and even colorful liquids filled the sight of Xiao Yang and the two of them. The crystal coffin stood upright in front of the two of them. In the coffin, there were obviously some human skeletons, some of which had been dried, and some were fresh corpses as if they had just died. The atmosphere in this house, invariably raised to a rather terrifying realm. Looking at the scene in front of them, if it wasn't for the fact that the two of them were extremely able to bear in their hearts, they would have lost their minds in fright in an instant. So many skeletons and corpses, and so many liquids, are enough to show that there should be something going on here. Unknown secret. This is from your Soul Academy. Xiao Yang turned his head and asked. These things were obviously a trick of the Soul Academy. These things are indeed the equipment we need to use in our Soul Academy's research projects, but why are they here? And the subject of our research has not directly touched human bones or corpses. Something is wrong here. After a while, Yu looked alert. Hey, little baby. Just as the two hesitated, a strange voice emerged. Who is it? Hearing this creepy voice, Xiao Yang and Yu both back to back at the same time, looking around vigilantly. After a glance, the two did not find the source of the sound. Illusion? Yu asked in confusion. It's not an illusion, it's a strong person who specializes in cultivating the power of the soul. Xiao Yang shook his head, and the khaki-colored holy flames were thrown directly into the sky, forming a round of radiant sun that illuminated the entire space. At this moment a puppet figure like a porcelain doll was actually suspended at the top of the room, with a fiery radiance from its pupils, and its eyes fixed on Xiao Yang. A greedy smell emerged. Master Xianyu? Looking at the puppet that stood upside down on the top of the house like a porcelain doll, Yu suddenly lost his voice. Be careful. There was no sound, no movement, but the puppet figure was like a runaway horse, its speed skyrocketed, and it fell directly from the top of the house, shooting towards Yu. Soul skill, Lingxi. Although Yu was surprised to see the seniors in the soul court here, he did not forget his own situation. When the puppet was about to attack him, the dazzling soul power was like a small stream, usually around his body, forming a very bright house shield. With a sound, the puppet's soaring speed and destructive power directly hit Yu's defense, and immediately froze in midair. Retreat. Seeing Yu's face was extremely ugly, Xiao Yang also knew how huge the energy contained in this puppet's small body, and directly pulled Yu to the ground. Xiao, is that you? After a short stay, the puppet was like a machine, slowly twisting his forehead, and then called out to the place where Yu was. Chiche's novels are first published on the whole network. Master Xianyu. Listening to the puppet's shout, Yu's psychological defense line collapsed, his body shook, and the dazzling soul power instantly dissipated. This guy, something is wrong. Although Xiao Yang said this on the surface, but in fact he was always vigilant about the puppet, because this puppet was too weird, only half a meter tall, and even moved like a machine. It made Xiao Yang quite vigilant. Xiao, is that you? The doll said indifferently. While speaking, his body stiffened in midair and walked towards Yu step by step, not paying any attention to what was wrong with Xiao Yang. It seems that Xiao Yang is just a superfluous item to her, and she can obliterate it at will. Xiao Yang, what are you doing? This is Master Xianyu. She is a very famous powerhouse in our Soul Academy. She loved me very much when I was a child, but during a certain research, the test item changed, causing the master to disappear from the Soul Academy. She didn't die, but exists here. I want to go to see her now. Seeing Xiao Yang reaching out to stop him, Yu couldn't help but said angrily, even above the beautiful eyes, the look of the past was gone, but instead there is a very subtle and strange fluctuation. I'm afraid this girl will be controlled. After Xiao Yang thought for a while, he said slightly in the bottom of his heart, and immediately retracted his arm, but left a trace of strength behind Yu. Once she has any situation, she will immediately take action. After all, the power of this puppet is only at the late stage of the 6-star fighting immortal. Now that Xiao Yang is exerting his full strength, it is naturally not something to be afraid of. Xiao, I finally saw you again, and I thought I would never see you again. After a while, Yu and the figure of the puppet overlapped, and the puppet complained, slightly crying. Master, how could you? Didn't the news of your death already come out? Yu couldn't help asking, overlapping with the figure of the doll. In the Soul Academy, all are soul bodies, and Xianyu can only use this form because of her obsession with some special research, so Yu is not surprised. Hey, Xiao, you don't know something. When the research project failed, the entire laboratory was facing the threat of explosion, and at the last moment, all the personnel fell into it. I relied on a bit of luck and barely escaped. Since then, after that, I was taken in by the West God Temple and stayed here. The doll and Yu kept talking, like an old friend who hadn't seen each other for a long time, so that people couldn't notice anything wrong, but it was this situation. Xiao Yang felt a chill in his heart. Chiche's novels are first published on the whole network. The equipment and these things here are clearly carrying out some inhuman research. This puppet doesn't seem to be a good ghost. Forget it, I can't waste time. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yang didn't hesitate, his eyes became deep, always paying attention to the words of the doll. So, go to hell. After a while, the gentle ragdoll's pupils suddenly burst into pieces of blood, and immediately opened its small mouth slightly, biting towards Yu who was close at hand. Not good. At this moment, Yu's expression returned to normal, and he secretly shouted, but at such a close distance, it was too late. Yu Mingtian. After the breath, a pleasant sound like a chirping emerged, and immediately filled the entire house. Stinky boy, it's bad for me. Let's die together. Seeing that his blow was unsuccessful, the figure of the doll flew away and disappeared into the house. Hey! The figure of the doll just fell, and suddenly the guys in the transparent coffins slowly opened their eyes, woke up, and even their breath soared. Bang bang bang! With a sound, the coffin shattered, and 5 black shadows emerged at the same time. 4 6-star fighting immortals in the early stage, 1 6-star fighting immortal mid-stage, still a human body. It seems that this guy should be researching the creation of puppet-like sorcery. Watching the 5 figures awakened vigilantly, Xiao Yan looked calm. The way. These 5 people are clearly human bodies, with flesh and blood, but unfortunately they do not have intelligence. They are like killing machines, but even so, the real strength of the 6-star fighting immortals in their bodies should not be underestimated. It's too strong, I'll stop them for a while. Xiao Yang, you go first. Looking at this scene, Yuer's expression was extremely solemn. If it wasn't for Xiao Yang's help just now, I'm afraid that he would have been completely defeated. No, you help me keep an eye on that Shen Yu. These guys, leave it to me. Xiao Yang shook his head and said, there are still 3 places to go, so we must hurry up, otherwise once the Master of Soul Li successfully breaks through, the reincarnation realm will be destroyed. The powerhouse, even if Xiao Yang used his clan pattern and summoned the 10 temples of Yama, would probably only be in a state of fall. And now Xiao Yang can clearly feel that since he encountered Xiao Zifan's power of the clan mark, whether it was because of its influence or something else, the guys in his clan mark were just about to move. If Xiao Yang tried his best to summon, I am afraid enough to summon it. As for the 10 temple Yama, this is the strongest guardian of the Xiao clan. Xiao Yang doesn't know how strong their power is, but if they can be respected by countless powerhouses in the Great Thousand World, that kind of strength will naturally not be too weak. This is Xiao Yang's last reliance. Crash. The 5 puppet fighting immortals just appeared, and suddenly there was a strange ghostly energy on their bodies. Immediately, without any hesitation, they raised their hands and ran directly towards Xiao Yang. The power contained in their palms, it was enough to easily tear Xiao Yang into 2 halves. Dragon God's first change. Seeing this terrifying attack, Xiao Yang snorted coldly, and a tyrannical wave also filled his body. The 3rd transformation of the Dragon God. Fighting Soul. At the next moment, without any hesitation, the covering of Fighting Soul and the display of Dragon God's 3rd transformation brought Xiao Yang's power to a higher level. This guy is actually so strong. Seeing Xiao Yang's posture, Yuer covered the corners of his mouth with a jade hand, and couldn't help but be surprised. Although Xiao Yang said that his strength was only in the middle stage of the 5-star fighting immortal, the power he displayed today was not inferior to the average 6-star fighting immortal. Bang bang bang. Without any fancy, just relying on the power of the fist, 1 punch and 1 kick became Xiao Yang's best weapon, and Xiao Yang was originally the strongest posture in close combat, so the 5 puppets were one time is crumbling down. Shen Yu, get out of here. Find out the entrance of this place for me. Otherwise. After the 5 puppets were settled, Xiao Yang didn't make any extra moves, but simply roared. Grey flames, surrounded together. With a sound, a door of light emerged from behind the huge void of the house. Let's go. After confirming that there was nothing wrong, the figures of Xiao Yang and Yu jumped directly into it. What a pervert. 3 holy flames are added at the same time. It seems that this matter must be reported to the Lord of the Palace. Shen Yu puppet came out slightly. In fact, although she is strong, her fighting power is weak. The scum, because her strength was accumulated by swallowing medicinal pills, so her combat strength was weak, so seeing Xiao Yang's arrogant posture, she could only obediently let him pass. Excuse me, you may not have a chance. At this time, a rather ordinary man appeared and immediately smiled. 8 stars fighting immortals. And the Shen Yu puppet doll's pupils shrank tightly, and a flash of shock emerged, and before there was any reaction, it was completely obliterated by it. Xiao Yang, this guy is really bold, but this time, I will accompany you to go crazy. It's just that in this temple, there seems to be something that frightens me. Then what is it? As soon as the voice fell, the Haisha dragon wolf was also hiding, and followed Xiao Yang and the 2 towards the next place. Go! Is there some guy following us? The 2 just passed the 1st level, and they immediately noticed the screams of Shen Yu from the rear, and even the slow disappearance of the breath. For a while, Yuer couldn't help but say, but it was obviously too late to go back at that time, so she could only continue to move forward. Furthermore, at this time, Yuer had not started to be so devout to Shen Yu. After all, she had a heavy responsibility and had to be killed or the breakthrough of the Master of Souls. To pay homage to the many souls who died. He's a very powerful guy, but I don't know why he wants to follow us. I hope he has no bad intentions. Xiao Yang shook his head helplessly. Obviously, he also knew some news about the Haisha dragon wolf, but every time he blackmailed him. The Sholong Lang did not reveal his true purpose, so Xiao Yang knew little about it, but Xiao Yang was certain that this guy had no ill will towards him, and even had a hint of support, otherwise he would not if you follow yourself like this, otherwise, according to his strength, it will be extremely easy to arrest yourself. After a moment, the two are moving towards the second level. After breaking through the second level, you will arrive at the southernmost place on the map. If this is where the retreat of the Lord of Souls is, everyone will be happy. If it is not here, I am afraid it will take a lot of time. It is quite far from the two northernmost places, and not to mention the many powerhouses who live in the Guardian Temple along the way, it will naturally waste a lot of time. With a sound, the stone door was pushed open in exactly the same way, and the two directly entered the second house space. This level, I don't know what it is. The two of them had just entered here, and the same darkness filled their field of vision. After a while, they suddenly felt an extremely cold ice force, which made Xiao Yang feel a strange feeling in his heart. The thought can make a guy like Xiao Yang feel a little cold, which is enough to show how cold the power of ice is. Two little guys, welcome. This is my country of ice. The voice fell, and in the dark void house, a blazing sun instantly emerged, and then a white and snowy forest emerged. The gusts of cold wind emerged, setting off an extremely terrifying place, a white world. Countless forest trees are made of ice blocks, even the feet of the two. I don't know when the solid ground turned into ice and snow place. This is her domain, the country of ice. Looking at this scene, Yue seemed to realize something, and looked around quickly, but after a glance, she didn't find anything, so she said, "This guy is very strong." Xiao Yang also glanced at the surrounding ice and snow forest indifferently, but found nothing. Yep. Because she is 7-star fighting immortal. Yue nodded lightly and said in a very solemn voice, 7-star fighting immortals, this kind of existence, I am afraid it is enough to easily obliterate the two. It doesn't matter, even if it is the Longtan Tiger's den, I have to break through it today. Fire. As soon as the voice fell, circles of grey flames emerged around Xiao Yang's body, like the inconspicuous flames in the world of ice and snow, but this faint flame was shocking. This is holy flame, undead fire. Are you a disciple of the old ghost of the earth spirit? After Xiao Yang's immortal fire added to his body and formed a sturdy flame armor, a sharp surprised voice emerged from the ice and snow forest. Senior, the two of us didn't intend to break into this place. Seeing that there was a hint of hesitation about the undying fire and mentioning the old ghost of the earth spirit in the surprised voice, Xiao Yang tried to speak. It seems that this guy is related to the old ghost of the earth spirit. Hehe, I never thought that the Lord of Li Soul would be willing to use the immortal fire as a bait, so as to prepare to devour Acacia Brokenheartitis. When you went to compete for the undead fire, the Lord of Li Soul should have already prepared the most important steps, and the rest is evolution to swallow. Once this guy succeeds, I am afraid that the revenge plan of the Devil of Light and Soul Eater will only be empty. The mysterious powerhouse said in the mouth. Forget it, who made me owe him a favor, the two of you, let's go. But remember, the next step is an extremely dangerous place. As a staff member of the West Temple, I can't help you too much, but if you can, you should leave now. The female voice spoke slowly, and there seemed to be a trace of guilt in her voice. The old ghost of the earth spirit. Xiao Yang heard the words, and naturally knew what the mysterious powerhouse meant, and immediately bowed respectfully to him, and immediately turned to the domain exit, the red sign in the southernmost part of the temple. His grandmother, the south, middle and north of this temple may be the hiding places of the Lord of Li Soul, but the breath of the Lord of Li Soul should not be in the southernmost part. If so, this trip may be a waste. Time is running out, and at the snail-like speed of this kid, when will the ghost world be resolved? Even if I waited, the master can't wait any longer. No, it seems that I have to help him. As soon as the voice fell, a green aura suddenly went in the opposite direction of Xiao Yang. The two of Xiao Yang are about to reach the far south, and there are 5 housing spaces in the far south to the center of the temple, and there are even 10 spaces in the far north. It became extremely calm. After all, none of the powerhouses who lived in these 15 spaces was stronger than the 8-star fighting immortal. Therefore, when he was looking for someone to enter the southernmost point, the Black Devil Dragon Wolf had already subdued and driven away the enemies along the way. So at this time the road became empty, only waiting for Xiao Yang and the two to arrive one after another. That mysterious powerhouse just now. The two left the second level and followed a path towards the southernmost part of the temple. At this time, there was a square in the passage, with dim lights on the surrounding walls, and the two walked quietly on the road. This mysterious powerhouse is an old friend of mine who taught at Earth Spirit Academy. Xiao Yang helplessly laughed, and immediately shrugged. Xiao Yang also knew a little about many things about the old ghost, but now they have all left safely. Further down, it's the red sign at the southernmost edge of the temple. The red sign is basically an independent space. I don't know what kind of power it has, but for the two of us, it's extremely dangerous. After a while, the two walked to the end of the trail and looked at the splendor in front of them. The bronze giant gate, Yue said. No matter what kind of danger, this time, we must break through. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, the dazzling flames filled his body, and immediately collapsed against the giant bronze gate, with a slight push with his palm. With a sound, the giant bronze door was gently pushed open by it, and then a solemn aura gently diffused out. This breath, like a hegemon, and like a real master, is terrifying, and even the pores of the whole body shrink involuntarily. Is this southernmost space really the retreat of the Lord of Souls? Clang. With a sound, the giant bronze door slowly opened, and then an awe-inspiring aura came out from the crack of the door, making both of them tremble. Go. They glanced at each other without any hesitation. The two figures turned into meteors and jumped directly into it. Immediately, the giant bronze gate closed slowly, just like the eternal static standing. Just in bronze, the two waiting behind the giant gate are extremely dangerous. This is. He just entered the space inside the bronze door, and was immediately shocked by the scenery here. Xiao Yang couldn't help muttering to himself, and his expression became extremely solemn. Poison barrier? Looking at the endless dark green area, huge bubbles constantly emerged from under your feet, and immediately exploded. Every explosion would bring out bursts of strange dark green aura. In the green breath, there is actually a deadly poisonous gas that is suffocating. A veritable poison barrier. Under such a severe poisonous barrier, even a strong and powerful person may become a poisonous person without spiritual wisdom over time. This is the horror of the poisonous gas, and for the resistance of qi is extremely difficult to resist. It is said that there is a mourner in Li Sol territory, and I never thought that I would see her here today. My Mu Zaidu glanced around the special space filled with countless poisonous mists and whispered, "Mourners?" Xiao Yang wondered. Yes, the mourners. And the so-called mourners, to put it bluntly, have extremely tyrannical power. This power has threatened the existence of a region, so they are jointly imprisoned by the ruling high level here. Speaking of which, this guy also made a lot of credit for Li Sol territory at the beginning, but he couldn't control the power in his body. Once he missed, he destroyed a quite fertile plain under Li Sol territory. Later, that special power was discovered, the identity of the mourners was confirmed, and after the Great Thousand Worlds united to kill them, they were finally obliterated by the top management of Li Huanyu. It's just that the senior management of Li Huanyu said on the surface that she had been executed, but the powerhouses of the 5 major courtyards knew that this was an excuse for being protected. After all, the ability of a mourner is enough to rank among the most precious combat power under Samsara. Yue said seriously. This guy's poison art is really terrifying. Xiao Yang heard that, and immediately looked at the strange dark green poison barrier around him, and frowned for a while. It seemed that the poison barrier mist here was more terrifying than the poisonous body. Of course. The mourners have powers that are not in line with the Great Thousand World, so they are jointly attacked by countless powerhouses in the Great Thousand World. Yue continued. Her power has threatened the Lord of Li Sol? 8-star fighting immortals? Xiao Yang couldn't help but wonder. Do not. Her strength is only at the level of 7-star fighting immortals, but because she is a mourner. The origin of the mourners is basically the same as that of the extraterritorial evil clan. They all control the Xeon's sorcery. It's just that humans are trying to distinguish the extraterritorial evil clan from them, and the two are different in nature. The power of sorcery has surpassed immortal art, and is close to divine art. The difference is that the sorcery among the foreign evil races is created by themselves, while the sorcery of the mourners is a natural talent, innate. But this kind of power is too tyrannical and destructive, so it is extremely difficult for the mourners to control, and once they get out of control, the scenes are suffocating. The mourners have an extremely rare natural talent. This kind of thing can make them burst out with extremely terrifying power during battle or at some special time. This power is called sorcery by the world. Yue continue. Is there someone coming? After a while, a dark green bubble suddenly appeared in front of the two of them, and a rather sweet voice came out slowly like a sleeping beauty. Not good. Seeing this, Xiao Yang hurriedly panicked, and suddenly stopped Yue, and his figure quickly retreated. As soon as the sound disappeared, the dark green bubbles instantly shattered, and the void where Xiao Yang and the two were just collapsed completely, but the strange thing was that the collapsed void returned to its original state in the blink of an eye. The collapse and fluctuation of Xiao Yang was enough to easily obliterate the two of them. "You, who are you?" Seeing such a terrifying scene, before the two of them could breathe a sigh of relief, dark green bubbles appeared. "Damn, what the is going on?" Xiao Yang ran away with Yu in his hands, but the strange thing was that every time the bubble appeared, a sentence would appear, and it would shatter immediately. Got used to. Chich's novels are first published on the whole network. This is the mourner. They have the power to destroy everything in their bodies, but she can't control this power, so she can only be destroyed. Lord Li Sol's actions have violated the Great Thousand World Covenant, but the imprisonment is also to protect her. Yu said helplessly. "Senior, where is your body?" The next moment, dark green bubbles appeared, and Xiao Yang took the opportunity to ask directly. "The center of the swamp." After the bubble finished, it shattered. "Let's go." Xiao Yang heard the words and turned his eyes towards the center of the dark green poison barrier swamp. Fortunately, Xiao Yang had been in contact with the poisonous body, and with the protection of the holy flame, this severe poison barrier did not cause much trouble to the two of them. "Former, senior." The two of them just came to the swamp area in the center of the poison barrier void and suddenly saw a rather simple wooden house. On the swing among the trees, leisurely in front of the swing, Chen Ying is clearly a young woman, with 3,000 blue silk falling vertically, her delicate melon-seed face and slender figure set off a dust-like beauty. No one could have imagined that such a mourner with the power to destroy all things could be such a beautiful woman. "You are of the Soul Academy of the younger generation, I have seen the mourners." Looking at the figure in front of him, Yu said respectfully. "What are you doing here?" Seeing this, Chen Ying smiled slightly, then walked down gracefully from the swing and asked. However, this Chen Ying always maintained an elegant smile, as well-mannered as a lady, and kept a distance from Xiao Yang and the two of them from beginning to end, and I don't know why. "This is nothing like the mourners you mentioned." Seeing this, Xiao Yang was really not connected with the so-called mourners in Yu's mouth. Senior, Junior Xiao Yang, came here just to find the Master of the Soul. Seeing this, Xiao Yang did not hesitate, and directly stated his intention. "He's not here." After Xiao Yang said this, the smile at the corner of Chen Ying's mouth instantly solidified, but a strange emotion permeated. Chen Ying shook her head and said. Hearing this, Xiao Yang cast a vicious glance here and said immediately, "If that's the case, then disturb." The two of you looked at each other, and immediately prepared to leave. Master Li Sol is not here, but according to his instructions, anyone who breaks into this place must stay here quietly for the last month. The beautiful girl smiled gracefully, but at this moment, Xiao Yang felt that the murderous intent hidden under this woman's smile is suffocating. No way. Hearing the mourner speak, Xiao Yang's heart was filled with shock. It's not that Xiao Yang is afraid of her. Now, Xiao Yang has 4 holy flames on his body, fighting spirit, dragon ***** transformation, and the clan mark at the bottom of the box. He still has the power to fight this guy, but the top priority is not whether he can defeat her, because the Lord of Soul Li is not here now. If he had exposed his full strength in advance and alerted the many powerhouses in the Western Temple, that kind of scene would undoubtedly be something Xiao Yang did not want to see. However, the West Temple is also strange, because it is divided into 2 floors, and the outermost layer is heavily guarded. Xiao Yang and the two finally got in here, and they finally felt that they were lurking. Strange, I am afraid that this is the characteristic of the West Temple. The strong people live inside, and these guys are the best guards to guard the 3 core areas. Crash. Before the two could do anything, on the mourner's body, a dark green liquid slowly overflowed with lethal toxins. Immediately, his jade hand was raised, and the dark green liquid was directly facing Xiao. The two of them blasted away. You too, it's been a month since you were wronged. Originally, a human has finally come in here. I want to play with you, but that guy has an order, so I can only obey. After doing all this, the mourner smiled at him. It's too strong. Xiao Yang just felt that the battle chi in his body was rapidly draining, and even a faint dizziness hit him. Obviously, this guy can be called a mourner for a reason. After the breath, the dark green liquid directly turned into a crystal cage, completely shrouding Xiao Yang and the two of them, making them unable to move. What should I do now? If I'm trapped here, then this time I'll be in vain. After some struggles, Xiao Yang said in frustration that he still did not shake the dark green cage at all. Little guy, don't waste your energy. This dark green cage is a poison barrier. It can drain your strength and continuously absorb your vindictive energy and vitality. But I won't be so cruel. It will only limit your vindictiveness. After a month, you will be able to recover your freedom. The mourner looked at Xiao Yang's shaking and said, obviously she was not malicious. It wasn't that the Lord of Li Soul had given an order. I'm afraid this mourner will have a good conversation with Xiao Yang and the two. A month. Then don't hurry up. Xiao Yang heard the words and vaguely realized that the master of Li Soul was probably only a month away from success. Acacia, broken enteritis is impossible to capture. After all, Xiao Yang knew that the 10 halls Yang Luo said was extremely terrifying, but among the 10 people, the reincarnation-level powerhouse was probably also. Is there a way? The struggle was fruitless. Xiao Yang simply did not waste his fighting qi, and asked through the voice transmission of his soul. I can crack this poison barrier, but we still can't resist this guy's power. The power of the mourners, to a certain extent, is even stronger than that of the Lord of Souls. You are worried. You can crack it, and leave the rest to me. Xiao Yang heard the words and said with great joy, as long as he can crack the poison barrier, the rest will be easy to solve. Okay. Yu was relieved, and then a touch of invisible soul power quietly filled the air. Little guy, you smell so good, you seem to have a lot of things I like. By the way, my name is Bai Ruoqian. The mourner continued. After Bai Ruoqian finished speaking, she walked towards Xiao Yang with light footsteps. Xiao Yang had several familiar auras on her body, so she naturally wanted to detect it further. Soul skill, Brahma sound. At a certain moment, the black robe above Yu's body disappeared instantly, and the illusory soul body was revealed, and immediately a strange black energy filled the surface of the soul body. After a while, on the illusory soul body, countless extremely mysterious black qi actually outlined into extremely obscure black words. The words are as profound as ancient writing, and they contain mysterious power from ancient times. Boom! As soon as these black ancient texts slowly formed, a deafening roar burst out in this poison barrier land, with a mighty and chilling sound. The dazzling black ancient text fell directly from Yu, and immediately went to the poison barrier cage that imprisoned the two. The black ancient text just touched the poison barrier cage, and the poison barrier cage seemed to be deflated. Like a balloon, it melts quickly. Oh, such a strong soul power. I'm afraid you can't master this kind of power. It should be borrowed from the power of some strong people. Looking at the weak Yu actually cracked his poison barrier cage, mourning the grief Bai Ruoqian said in surprise. This level of power is probably the dean of the Soul Academy, that is, this girl's teacher. Xiao Yang muttered. Swallowing flame technique. As soon as the voice fell, Xiao Yang's strength suddenly soared, reaching the peak of the initial stage of 6-star Dozian in an instant. Fighting soul. The third transformation of the dragon god. With a cold snort, an illusory figure of a fighting spirit appeared on the surface of Xiao Yang's body, and even on a certain arm, strange dragon scales appeared for a while. Good boy, it's hidden so deeply. But that lord is kind to me, so I won't let you go easily. The mourner Bai Ruo smiled slightly. Fire. Immortal flame domain. Xiao Yang was still worried when he noticed the extremely terrifying power of Bai Ruoqian in front of him. The surface of his body was enveloped in the undying flame domain, and only then did he feel relieved. Poison barrier, myriad poison devouring heart Gu. Seeing Xiao Yang so fully armed, Bai Ruoqian's eyes shrank suddenly, and immediately a surging dark green aura emerged from his body like a sea of water. After a while, it turned into waves of dark green mist roared away at Xiao Yang. No, it's too strong, Xiao Yang, let's retire. If this goes on, we will all die here. Yu was unable to do anything because he had just performed an extremely tyrannical soul attack, but looking at the roaring degree of the menacing dark green mist in front of him, he couldn't help but said, Come on, just try that thing. Xiao Yang heard the words, but did not retreat at all. The mysterious dragon scale on his arm exuded a majestic aura, and then Xiao Yang's palm gently touched the inside of the dragon scale. Inside, there seems to be something terrifying, slowly emerging. Little guy, fall. Seeing Xiao Yang using many means, Bai Ruoqian spoke contemptuously like her of death. Her natural talent, her status as a mourner, to display such a tyrannical attack, Xiao Yang's mere 6-star fighting immortal fell here, can be regarded as a great honor. Seeing the dark green mist full of death aura getting closer and closer, Xiao Yang knew that once it got the slightest bit of contamination, the two of them would instantly turn into a pool of blood. The pattern of the tyrant, the mirage spirit curtain. But just when Bai Ruoshi felt that Xiao Yang was going to die, a loud roar, like the sound of thunder, filled the entire poison barrier. At the same time, a sky curtain appeared out of thin air. Appeared in front of Xiao Yang. The real canopy, like a pillar of optimism, easily resists the dark green poison barrier miss. At this moment, everything was silent, and even the air became frozen. This video will end here.